Look, I've talked about this before. We try to schedule the best teams that we can schedule.
So with the recent schedule talks that have been going on in college football, with conferences going to a 9 or 10 game conference schedule to make up for the college football season due to the coronavirus, which I'm not sure if this season will actually happen, but we'll see. I know a lot of you have your finger crossed and you want to see it. We'll see. But this video was inspired by a Discord conversation I was having with some people in there, and it was a lot of fun. That's why you should join the Discord. But it was about Alabama and scheduling, because I know that's a fun talks. People like to debate and just kind of throw a lot of weird insults around on. And it's a somewhat common narrative out there that Nick Saban and Alabama schedule weak opponents purposefully.
Would I rather play other teams? No disrespect to New Mexico State. Their coach works hard. Their players played hard. But if it's my philosophy that we should play 12 Power 5 schools, I'd say the answer to that would be yes.
As if it's some nefarious plot to get Alabama in the playoffs every year, as if Alabama needs some type of help to get into the playoffs. And I'm just here to say and argue that Alabama doesn't need help to get into the playoffs. And that statement or that common narrative couldn't be further from the truth. So if you disagree, I guess let's just have some fun in the comment section. So every year under Nick Saban, Alabama has opened every season, or at some point in the season played a Power 5 Division I opponent. Not every school can say that. In 2007, it was Florida State. In 2008, it was Clemson, which kind of let people know that the dynasty was on the way when they stomped them. 2009, it was Virginia Tech. 2010 and 2011, it was a home and home series with Penn State, for those people that like to say Alabama doesn't like doing home and homes. In 2012, it was Michigan. 2013, it was Virginia Tech. In 2014, it was West Virginia. In 2015, Wisconsin. 2016, USC. 2017, Florida State. 2018, Louisville. 2019, Duke, because the rest of the ACC was scared. And it was going to be USC again this year in 2020, but coronavirus and the pandemic as a whole had different plans. So Alabama in general plays one FCS or Division II opponent a year. It's like the teams like, the Charleston Southerns of the world. And people like to make fun of those until your team loses against them. Michigan in 2007, I'm looking at you. Appalachian State took you out. But Alabama schedules one of those opponents a year, just like every other school in the SEC and the ACC in other conferences when they were on an 8-game conference schedule. When you're on an 8-game conference schedule, you have to schedule 4 non-conference opponents. So these 9 and 10 game conference schedules are fairly new to the landscape of college football. In years past, the Big 10, the Big 12, the Pac-12, they were all 8-game conference schedules as well. And every school had to find a 4 non-conference game opponent. And so people act like this is just some phenomena that the SEC has been exploiting when their teams were literally doing the same thing just a few years ago.
But that's a philosophical answer. All right, and that's not the way it is. All right, so I don't know why you would ask me that question, as if I could do something about it, when I can't do anything about it.
And so when you have to find 4 non-conference opponents, it can be really difficult to make them all Division I opponents, because not everybody wants to play you. Some people want to get an easy win. And so I can say, at least for Alabama, 3 out of those 4 teams are all Division I opponents. One of them's Power 5, like I've already stated, and two of the others are usually Group of 5 opponents. So it can be like a Kent State or Colorado State, something like that. And usually when it's a Kent State or something, in Alabama's case, it's because Kent State is Nick Saban's alma mater, and he actually likes to give back to the schools that he's received some benefit from, or just helping small schools in general. He said that. And then the other team, the FCS team, in years past, is usually right before playing Auburn. And some people wanted to give people a hard time about that. And it's like, well, they got to fit somewhere.
Do I think we can get better in games like this? I do. If you approach the game right and you practice the right way and you prepare and you have the right focus and you play to your standard, you can get better playing anybody.
But that idea, even that's changing, because this year there wasn't going to be a FCS opponent before Auburn. And so, people just got to find something to complain about. But in general, people also don't acknowledge the fact that I think they just want to see Alabama play the Avengers every week. People want to see Alabama play against Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, and the whole crew before they can claim that Alabama played a worthy opponent. It's like out of those 4 non-conference game schedules, Alabama, nobody in Alabama is not playing Ohio State, Oregon, USC, and Texas in the 4 non-conference game schedules. First of all, not all of those teams are even going to agree to play. Nick Saban has stated that schools are afraid to play them. He said that in a press conference, and those schools didn't do anything to refute that fact.
So we're playing the best teams that we can get to play us. Why don't you start calling around and see if you can get somebody else to play us, and we'll play them. We'll play anybody you can get to play us.
Schools have backed out of playing Alabama on the schedule, and sometimes that's because they couldn't agree on whether or not it was going to be a home and home or a neutral game site. And for Alabama's case, I can say at least it's in the university's interest to do neutral sites because they want to make more money. You make more money at a neutral site than you do from a home and home. You actually lose money because you lose a home game. And so, unfortunately for college football fans, we don't get to see those that often because they want to make more money that way. But it's not out of fear of competition. So if you have a problem with that, you should probably speak to the administrations on those. But you basically see that there's various reasons for why these matchups don't always work out the way we want them to. Also, Saban has stated, as I said before, he likes to help the FCS schools financially. I think people forget that there are smaller schools who don't make money and who need a little bit of help, maybe from some boosters or some outside sources, or playing a team that's looking to, get a quick, easy win and, help them out, pay them $1 million, $500,000, $1.5 million, some payday to come in and basically lose, except when you're Michigan and you lose to Appalachian State in 2007. But that's what those games are for, and they actually are helpful. So if we, as we move toward, non-FCS opponents, the unfortunate consequence of that is that those schools might actually lose their ability to maintain their football program. So that's something that college football has to address in general, or we might just lose a few teams, unfortunately. And here's the last point that I just got to point out. Nick Saban has long advocated for a Power 5 versus Power 5 schedule. He said,
I've said my opinion about playing 12 Power 5 schools. That's what I would rather do.
Every Power 5 school should only play Power 5 schools. Nick Saban has said that, and that's not a recent thing. He said that in the past, and he's been a proponent of a 10-game conference schedule. I mean, you can look it up.
A lot of other people don't agree with that. I'd rather play 10 SEC games and then play 2 other Power 5 schools. So all the games are exciting for the fans.
Find it on the internet. He said this in years past. So the question is, who's afraid of who? Based on what I've seen here, it's not Alabama. And so I would charge you, ask your favorite school why they aren't playing Alabama instead of questioning why Alabama is running from competition. That's just something I got to say. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. If you agree, let me know why. If you want to add something else, some more evidence, some more points to consider, put that down there too. I'd be happy to discuss that with you. But I'm here to say thank you for watching and engaging in the content. Let me know what you want to see, whether it's breakdown of a certain players or a team or even NFL stuff, whatever you want to see. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.